First of all, we'll start off that I'm using a laptop today because we're trying to share the screen. Okay, so we'll have to give a big yashar koach to Neil Bodner. He's one of the guys who runs the Tzurba program, and he's given us PDF access on online. So actually, those who are looking today online have the book in front of them. I posted in the group the test that we'll be looking at. I'm using my own personal computer, which is very old, and it's over 10 years now. And the battery life is not good in it, and it's no space on it either. So we are in the market for a new laptop. And it's going to be used just for shiurim and publishing shiurim and recording and that. If anyone wants to have the fuss of joining in the purchase of it, I think I found something for $750, another MacBook that I think will do the job. If anyone's interested, just reach out to me afterwards and we'll get it done. And we'll have a push to everyone. Okay, so today's shir, which is also another big thank you to Neil Bodner from Tzurba. He was able to turn the Google form test into a PDF, which I did post in the group. And the way we're going to do this is no one's taking a personal test. This is a test that we're going to take together. And the idea is for us to walk away from what we're learning with a strong understanding. You don't just want to learn every volume and just walk away. We want to know it. So we're going to do it together. And we'll go through the sources. Question number one. 3 reasons why the Chachamim, at least 3 reasons why the Chachamim said you're not allowed to go sailing. You're not allowed to go on a boat 3 days before Shabbat. So if you go into the Tzurba, if anyone remembers offhand, you can say. But if you go into the Tzurba, if you go to page 24, okay, page 24, source number 3, the Mishnah Brura brought down the reasons. And he says, there are many reasons, right? One of them he writes, because it could lead to Chilul Shabbat. Person goes on a boat on Shabbat, 3 days before Shabbat, likely to be on the boat on Shabbat, and he'll know he'll need to save somebody, so it'll lead to Chilul Shabbat. That's one answer. Another answer that's brought is that perhaps there's an issue of Tehum Shabbat, of leaving the area that you're allowed to be in on Shabbat. You're not allowed to go out from it. That was another reason that was brought in. Then there was a third reason that was brought, that being on a boat, there's no Oneg Shabbat on a boat. It's missing from Oneg. Okay? And the fourth reason that the Mishnah Berurah brought on top of page 25 was because perhaps going on a boat is similar to swimming, and there's certain restrictions of swimming on Shabbat, and you can get confused between on a boat and swimming, and therefore it is also to go on a boat 3 days before Shabbat. So that is question number 1. We have here, they said at least 3 reasons. We gave 4 reasons. All of them are found in the Mishnah Brura. The second question, everybody has an exam, right? Okay, and pencils are on the table. Second question, when do the 3 days begin? So we saw you're not allowed to go on a boat 3 days. When does those 3 days begin? So he gives you 4 options here. Thursday according to the Shulchan Aruch and Wednesday according to the Vilna Gaon. Well, Thursday according to the Vilna Gaon and Wednesday according to the Shulchan Aruch. Thursday according to all opinions, or none of the above. So who wants to venture a guess?
Second one? Second one or first one? It has to be Wednesday.
I
know it's
Wednesday. Yeah, so the answer is on page 26, source number 4. And if you look at the last paragraph there are 2 leading factors. First, according to the Vilna Gaon, the 3 days are Thursday, Friday, Shabbos, and Wednesday was not included in the decree. So usually we understand 3 days before Shabbat is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So that would be the simple understanding of Shulchan Aruch is Wednesday, where the Vilna Gaon says it's Thursday. So Wednesday, you're allowed to go on a boat. Okay? And we saw that the Halacha Berurah, which is David Yosef, goes with the Vilna Gaon that Thursday is the problem. And Wednesday, you're allowed to go on a boat. You're allowed to go on a boat on Wednesday, just Thursday. The question the Halacha Berurah brought was, what about Wednesday night? So Halacha Berurah said Wednesday night you should refrain. All right, Wednesday nights has like a din like a Thursday, so you don't want to go on the boat on Thursday on Wednesday night, but Wednesday day you're allowed to go on a boat. So that's question number 2. Question number 3. In what case would it be prohibited to set sail on a ship, even on Monday, on Sunday? When are you not allowed to go on a ship? Huh? No, if you're going on the beginning of the week, you're allowed to go on, even if you know you have to be Chal Shabbat, as long as you're in the beginning of the week. When are you not allowed to go on a boat, even if you went on Monday? So page 28 in the Tzurba, we have the case of a boat with Jewish sailors and workers, right? You have an Israeli cruise ship, okay? And the majority of the workers are Jewish. That means someone's going to be Mechalel Shabbat there in order to have the cruise ship. And therefore, it will be forbidden to go on that boat even from the beginning of the week, right? Remember that? We had that as well. Okay. That was on page 28. That's Chacham Ovadia bringing it down, and he brings it down from the Lubavitch Rebbe, who said that it's definitely not permissible. Minchat Yitzchak brought it down as well. Okay. Now, question number 4 is a specific question. What is the problem with riding on a train on Shabbat according to the Ramban, as explained by the Hatam Sofer? So you want to know what the Ramban held? What was his issue about riding a train? And how the Hatam Sofer understand this? So if you open your books to page 30 and 31, source 10 and 11, okay? Remember, the Ramban in the bold, he wrote that what's Shabbat and what's Yom Tov? That last line over there. Shabbaton shieh yom shevita umnucha lo yom torech. It should be a day of rest and not a day of work, not a day of toil. So says the Hatam Sofer on page 31, he says, but going on a train, you're not resting. Your body's shaking up and down. Everything's going everywhere. It's not considered rest. And therefore, you cannot be on a train on Shabbat, according to Hatam Sofer, because of the Ramban, that what? It's not considered resting on Shabbat. Okay? All right. Now, moving away from the boats and the trains, we have question number 5. What type of meal is forbidden, asur, on Erev Shabbat, according to the Magid Mishnah and the Shulchan Aruch? Is it any meal that includes bread when eaten after Chatzot? Is it an unusually large meal when eaten any time on Friday? Is it C, even a snack when eaten after Plag? Or D, none of the above? So we have David Nitanelli telling us that it's A. Anyone else want to take a different approach?
Unusually large.
Issue is not the bread. B. Very good. So we're saying good on B. Why is it B? What's the issue with B? You're eating a meal that you never eat, and you're eating it on Friday. It's an unusually large meal, which eats at any time. Means even if you're eating it in the morning, but this is not the type of meal that you would eat. And this can be found on page 47. You go to page 47, source 43 and 44. The Maggid Mishnah writes over there. He writes, where is he right over here? That regarding eating and drinking, one does not practice during the first paragraph. He doesn't have this to eat. Even the morning, the whole day, you're not allowed to do it. And the Shulchan Aruch brings it la'alacha in source 44. Also, the Kavoi Be'er Shabbos Suda Mishnah She'enu Ragil B'mei Hachol V'afilu Hi Sudas Erusin Ifnei Kavod Shabbat She Kanes Shabbat Kishu Taev Le'echol. So you should come into Shabbat with an appetite. So if it's not a normal meal, you don't usually eat this meal, and now you're going to eat this meal on Friday, that is asur to eat any time on Friday. Okay. Number 6, moving along. to malacha on Erev Shabbat. When is malacha permitted on Erev Shabbat after Mincha Ketana? Is it if it's for the sake of Shabbat, even if you're getting paid for it? B, is it if it is short and does not involve effort? Is it A and B, or it's none of the above? So Isaac says C. C is correct. You're going to go to source 56 and 57 in the Shir. Okay. Let's take a look at source 56 and 57. I didn't write down the page in my book. But 1 second. Page 52. Okay, so says the Shulchan Aruch in source 56, the Takim Begodov, the Kalev, the Tzarech Shabbos, Mutter Kol Hayom. If you're fixing it for Shabbat, it's Mutter Kol Hayom. And says the Shulchan Aruch, Hu Adin Limi Shekos Shalatzma Derech Lamodai. Right, so you're allowed to do it if it's for the sake for Shabbat. And the Mishnah Berurah explains why, because it's clear it's for Shabbat. And you're even allowed to take, and the Alkut Yosef says, you're even allowed to take payments for this, because everybody knows for Shabbat. It means if you're an electrician and someone calls you to your home, says the Mishnah Berurah, Mishnah Alkut Yosef, you're an electrician and someone calls you to your home, right, to fix it, you're allowed to fix it minutes before Shabbat, and you're allowed to get paid for it, because it's clear it's for Shabbat. What about if it's short and involves no effort? So you go back to source 54, 55. You're allowed to, if it's something that's offhand, it's not that. Says the Alkut Yosef as well, could go in to fix a button or something. All these short little things, you're allowed to do them Erev Shabbat, even up close to Shabbat. Okay, so two types of melachot that are permitted: short melachot and melachot that are dafka for Shabbat. That everybody knows is for kavod Shabbat. Okay, very good, Isaac. Isaac is listening. All right. Now we're moving on to shir number 2. Okay, so that was Chazaran shir number 1. Shir number 2. Question number 7. What are the 3 reasons mentioned by the Mefarshim for the mitzvah of lighting candles? Why do we light candles on Erev Shabbat? What are the 3 reasons? Oneg, Shalom Bayit, and one more. Well, related to Oneg. What's the other one? Oneg Shabbat and? Oneg Shabbat, and what's the other one? Kavod Shabbat. Very good. You have 2 things. All right, Oneg Shabbat and Kavod Shabbat. The Vilna Gaon explains what's Oneg Shabbat, what's Kavod Shabbat. Oneg Shabbat is what you enjoy on Shabbat. Kavod Shabbat is what you do Erev Shabbat for Shabbat. So you have 2 things. Take a look, page 73, sources 2 and 3. Rashi says, lighting the candle of Shabbat, Kavod Shabbat hu. Okay, and in source number 3, Tosafot says it's Oneg Shabbat. Right, the candles are for Oneg Shabbat. What about Shalom Bayit? You're correct, it is for Shalom Bayit, and that's found on page 78. On page 78, in source number, it's not, unless this is not, wait, so it might not be page 78. Source number 8. Find source number 8. Did I mess it up? Right, here, Masechah Shabbat, and it says over here, the page what? Page 76. Okay, so my handwriting is not clear. I wrote 76, but it looks like an 8. So it's 76, source number 8. And he wrote over here because of Shalom Bayit. And Rashi explains what's Shalom Bayit. People don't want to sit in the dark. They don't want to stumble and hit their toes as they're walking. So those are the 3 reasons for the candles of Shabbat. Kivot Shabbat, Oneg Shabbat, and Shalom Bayit. That's why the woman does it. That's going to be a different question. Okay. Question number 8. Question number 8. When one does not have sufficient money, doesn't have enough money, what is the order of preference for purchasing the following items according to the Mishnah Berurah? A, does he get challah, other fruits for the meals, and then last candles? B, does he get challah, candles, other food for the meal? Or does he get challah, one candle, and other food for the meal, and then other candles? Or does he first get a candle, challah, other candles, and other food for the meal? Who wants to venture a answer on this one? Yosef Menara says C, and C is correct. That's right. So go to page 79, source 16. The Mishnah Berurah writes in the second paragraph, "Umi sheyesh lo ma'ot metzumtzemin." He has a little bit. By the way, you get a thumbs up on someone give you a thumbs up on the Zoom. Okay. Mitzvah of having bread. Okay, so some of limited funds. The mitzvah of having bread for Shabbat takes precedence because you need to make the bread. You can make kiddush on the bread. We'll see that. Then the candle for Shabbat comes. All right. As although meat and other food is included in order Shabbat, the candle takes precedence to the Shalom Bayit. However, one candle is sufficient, says the Mishnah Berurah, and one should spend any surplus on food for Shabbat. So C is correct. Challah is first, then a candle. Other food, you have more money, you get other candles. Okay, very good. Moving on to, see, guys, you remember something. We didn't just learn and it went out the window. We remember some stuff. Okay, question number 9A. All right, he has a 9A and a 9B. Okay. 9A. What is the halacha if a woman forgot to light Shabbat candles 1 week? She gets penalized and she has to do what? She has to add another one next week. Very good. So that's found
indefinite. She has to light the forever.
Right, for forever. So page 82 is the answer. Source 24. Page 82, source 24. Says the Ramah, a woman wants to light for her whole life. She should light 3 candles. Okay, so that is correct. Source number, question number 9B. Number 9B. Does this rule apply today if there were electric lights on in the house? Mention at least 2 approaches taken by the poskim. Okay, the question is as follows. In the olden days, you didn't light candles. You had shalom bayit problems. No one can see where they're going. So it was very important to light candles. If you didn't light candles, you got penalized. Today, we can even use electric lights for the candles. So if she technically turned on the electric lights, she technically put on the candles. So do we still penalize her today? Okay, that's right. So according to Chamavada, you would not, because you already have the electric lights. Where is that source? Page 84, source 28. Very good, source 28 and 29. That you won't have to, because there's already electric lights. So that's from David Ribiat, and that's from Ravaji Yosef. The other approach is the source right before, source 27 on 83. And that is Rav Wozner. Rav Wozner says that the penalty still applies today because she was negligent in performing the mitzvah in the proper manner. You know, you're right. We don't really need the candles. But remember we said the candles gives a certain ambience to the room. You know, it's Shabbat. There's the candles there. And since she didn't perform the mitzvah in the proper manner, she'd still have to add in extra candles. Halach l'maisa, most poskim today, if you ask them, they would never tell the lady to light an extra candle because of the electric lights. So that's the halakha l'maisa over there. Very good, Rabbi Daniel. Beautiful. Okay, question number 10. As we're moving along, when many women are lighting together, who should recite the bracha? Okay, many women are lighting Shabbat candles together. So multiple choice. A, all of them according to the Shulchan Aruch. B, one on behalf of the others according to Shulchan Aruch. C, all of them according to the Ramah. B and C. Very good. B and C. So D is the correct answer. Why is that? We already saw that the Shulchan Aruch said he's not sure if a lot of people are lighting together, if each one should be saying a bracha. Right? So he says because of that question, one person says the bracha and everyone else answers amen and lights. And that's what we Sephardim do. That's what we're supposed to do. It's a bracha levatala if someone is making a bracha, if someone already lit. We already saw that. The Ashkenazim say every single lady can light her own candle. Okay, so this is found in source 47. What page is source 47? Page 94. Okay, Shulchan Aruch, Shnai Mishloisha, Balibatim, Ochel Mokim Echad, Yesh Arm Shekol Echad, Mevarach Al Menorah, Shalo, V'yesh Migam Gem Bedavar, V'nochel Nehizer B'Safek, V'rachos V'leirach Ele Echad. And the Ramah says, Aval Anu, Ein Nahagin Kain. We don't paskin like this Mesupik of the Shulchan Aruch. Everyone lights. This makes a practical difference between Sephardim and Ashkenazim. For our ladies, they need to know this. If someone already lit, like this week, my mother-in-law came to my house for Shabbat. She came late, right? We already lit. So she came. She could still light because there was still Zman to light, but we already lit with the bracha. She cannot say the bracha in there because the light candles were already lit. She can light. Without bracha. Ashkenazim, they can make, each one makes their own bracha. Okay, so that's question number 10. What? If she has her own room, private, and she can light in that room, then she can make a bracha in that room. But most people don't do that. Guests usually don't light in their own room for safety concerns and stuff like that. Not recommended. They wouldn't make it. But you're right. If they had their own room, sleeping arrangement, and they had a place to light, and they're going to come back when the candle's still lighting, they were able to light there. Okay, question 11A. They love doing this A and B. Okay. We really already answered it already. 11A. How is the proper procedure for lighting candles in a hotel different for Ashkenazim and Sfaradim? So we already said, Sfaradim, one person's going to light, everyone should answer Amen and then light. And if someone else comes in later, they can't light. They can light without a bracha. They can't make a bracha. 11B. Give one option of where one can light in a hotel in a halachically acceptable manner. Okay, so no, that's the exact problem. Lighting in a lobby, that is the problem. And it has to be either in a room where you're going to have enough from it, or it's going to be in the dining room where you're going to use it because you're in the dining room. Lighting it in the hallway is not permissible. It has to be lit in somewhere that people are going to have hana from it. If you're going to have hana from it, correct. Yeah, even if you're not eating there. Right, so for Sfaradim, that would work out better because you can't make it in the dining room where the people are already lit there. So you can't make a bracha. You want to make a bracha if you can light it in your room and you're going to get back to it while it's still lit on a Shabbat or use it once Shabbat is and you're going to get enjoyment from it, you're allowed to make your own bracha. The only thing is most hotel rooms don't want you to be lighting actual candles there. Okay. So that's in source 50. Source 50. The Ma'amir Mordechai, this is Mordechai Mordechai Eliyahu writes that over there. That has to be in a place where people are eating and drinking and stuff like that. Okay, right. His 1/8 was if you are lighting it in the lobby, then you should make like the tea station there, coffee station there, so people are using the lights to eat and drink in that area. Right, even though it's not the final destination, but it's a place that they.
They are having pleasure from it.
No, it seems it has to be either in a bedroom or it has to be in a place you're eating, not just I'm getting enjoyment from it. Seems to be like either a bedroom, private room, or in a place that you're eating. It should be lit. Okay. That was 11B. 12A. Why do many poskim recommend turning off electric lights and turning them on again before lighting Shabbat candles? They say if you're home and you're about to light the Shabbat candles, shut off the lights, the electric lights, and turn them back on. Why would they say this? Okay, so page 97, source 53. Okay, what does he say over here? A number of contemporary authorities have raised the question whether one can fulfill the mitzvah of lighting Shabbos and candles in such a room, since they add little, if any, acceptable light. The authorities therefore suggest that before lighting the candles, one should light the electric lights for the sake of Shabbat and recite the bracha over them as well as over the candles. So according to this view, the procedure should be as follows. One should turn off electric lights in the room where the Shabbat candles will be lit and then turn them back on. All right, and then the Shabbat candles should be lit and the bracha would be on the candles and on the electric lights. And this is Rav Moshe Feinstein, Rav Yaakov Kamenetsky. They both say to do it this way. Question 12b, Rav Moshe Sternbach and others, including the Yalkut Yosef, say you do not have to do this. You do not have to turn off the lights and turn them back on. And he brings. No, before, saying before you light the candles. Shut off the light and turn them back on. Right. In order to say it's for Shabbat. In order to show that it's for Shabbat. But he writes over here, we do not have the custom to do this. Because it serves as an honor. The candle itself, even though there's light in the room, again, it's the ambience. It adds to the kavod of Shabbat, and therefore you do not have to shut off the lights. It's good to do it, but you do not have to do it. The Penina Halacha says that as well. In source 55, he writes it's preferable to turn on the electric lights, turn off the electric lights and turn them back on. But he says that technically, even if electric lights are on, should we light the candles with a bracha? So the question, the idea here is, what is my lights doing? I'm lighting candles. What is it doing? I have lights on anyway. So because of that, shut off the lights, put them back on, showing it's for kavod Shabbat, and then you add another light, the candle, you can make a bracha. It is the preferable way of doing it, but we say the candle itself adds honor to Shabbat, and therefore you can make a bracha without turning off the lights and turning them back on. Okay, that concludes Shir number 2, review of Shir number 2. Moving on to Shir number 3. And we are on question number 13. The question is, give 2 reasons why women take precedence in lighting Shabbat candles. Someone mentioned this before. Right. So first answer from Rabbi Daniel is that the woman took away the light of Adam Rishon. So that's on page 111, source 2, right? Since she took away that light, we give her to add light every week to Shabbat. Okay. The other source is number 3. That's the Rambam. This is a more practical source. And the Rambam says, when Nashim mitzvahs davar zeh, yartiv min anashim lefi shehem mitzvahs b'bayisam, because they're found in the house. V'heina eskos v'lachas abayis, and they're the ones taking care of house chores. So lighting candles for Shabbat, to have light is a house chore that the women, practically speaking, are doing. So they take precedence in doing that mitzvah. So that was the Rambam. Question number 14. Should young girls and unmarried women also light Shabbat candles at home? Make sure to mention any difference of the opinion for Sfaradim and Ashkenazic poskim. So this can be found in source 6, 7, 8, and 9, and we'll just say it outside. Chacham Ovadia is very clear that by Sfaradim there is no such minhag of young girls lighting Shabbat candles. No such minhag. If for whatever reason the Sephardi girl wants to light the candles, she's more connected, she has a connection to Shabbat, connection to Hashem, she can light it without a bracha. She's not only getting extra bracha. According to the Ashkenazim, most Ashkenazim, the young unmarried girls are not lighting Shabbat candles. Primarily those who are doing it are Chabadniks. Okay? They're the ones who are lighting the candles as unmarried girls. And can they make a bracha or not? So some Ashkenazic poskim say they should not make a bracha. And some, like the Shemir Shabbat Kechatan 6 says, she can light in a different room. Or he even says in the footnote that she can have kavanah not to be yotze through her mother's bracha and light and make her own bracha. It's very far. We do not paskin this way. Absolutely not. And we would say, young girl, if you want to light the candle, light it. It's into height, but no bracha on it. Right. But we already saw the Shulchan Aruch. Shulchan Aruch said that if this candle's already there, he's not sure if someone else can go and make another bracha. With Kiddush, I can have in mind not to be yotze to someone's Kiddush and make my own Kiddush. Right? That everyone agrees to. But candles, yeah, if I don't want to be yotze to someone's Kiddush, I can say I'm not listening to his Kiddush. Well, that's a different side. But if I don't want to hear someone's Kiddush, I don't have to hear. Yeah, I don't have to hear someone's Kiddush. Right, but candles is different because the Shulchan Aruch said, I don't know if the candles are already there. I don't know if you're allowed to say another bracha. So that's different. Whether you want to have kavanah or not, it wouldn't make a difference according to Shulchan Aruch. Shmirat Shabbat Kilchata, who's learning like the Ramah, who says many women can make a bracha, so maybe that's why he would say it's okay. Okay. Now, question number 15. According to the Chafetz Chaim and the Shmirat Shabbat Kilchata, what are the two conditions that exempt a married man from lighting candles when he is away from home for Shabbat? Okay, so a man is away, he's a married man, he's not home for Shabbat. What two conditions he needs to have according to the Chafetz Chaim, Mishnah Berurah, and the Shmirat Shabbat Kilchata in order not to have to light when he is away? So, page 117, there is an orange box in the middle. Yeah, there has to be his wife lights it, but one more thing as well is that he has to have light available to him. Meaning he has to be eating in a place that there's light lit, right? Someone lit candles over there. Read that box. According to Shabbat Kilchata, a family member who lives at home and is away for Shabbat need light candles at all, even if they have their own room. If one can see in the room, and if someone else lights in the place they eat, then he doesn't have to light his own candles, right? That's Shmirat Shabbat Kilchata. That's the Chafetz Chaim. What about us Sephardim? I know he doesn't ask what we paskin halacha, so I'm just going to bring back what we saw before in the laws of Shabbat, and he writes as follows in halacha 51: one who is not at home for Shabbat and is staying in a place that he has his own private room must light Shabbat candles, even though his wife would be lighting at home. So if you have your private room, you have to light candles. If he does not have his own private room and he's staying at someone's home who'll be lighting candles, in addition to his wife lighting at his home, then he has fulfilled his obligation of lighting. So if his wife's lighting and he's in a place that has candles and he doesn't have his own room, he's yotzei. He doesn't have to light his own. But if he has his private room, then he has to light.
Your different time zone. For you, for a man who the Shabbat comes in, and you rely on your wife, which will light in 5 hours from now.
You're saying he already needs to light. I am. Yeah, it's possible. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, fine. Question number 16. In what scenario does the Magen Avraham permit a goy to light Shabbat candles on behalf of a Jew? Okay. Page 120. Page 120, source 21. The Magen Avraham goes through a whole thing over here, but B'kitzur, he says, if it's after Shkia, but it's during Ben Mashot, okay? It's after Shkia, during Ben Mashot, and you didn't light candles yet, you can tell the guy, light the candles for me. And he'll light. You can't make a bracha on those lighting, but he can light. Is that still applicable today? So the Yalkut Yosef writes, and we saw this already, I'll just read it again. Yalkut Yosef, page 177 in the English edition, and halacha 51, he writes that today we would not be able to do this. Why not? Why not? What would be the reason? The leniency applies only if the house will be left in darkness without Shabbat lights. If the electric lights are on, one may not instruct a non-Jew to kindle the Shabbat lights during Ben Mashot. Okay? It's only when it really kept Shalom Bayit. We needed as candles. Today, we have electric lights. So after Shkia, you cannot, this kula of the Magen Avraham of asking a guy to light, we cannot rely on if you have electric lights on anyway. Okay. Moving on. Question 17. I don't know if we'll get through all the questions, but we're only spending one share on the questions. If we don't finish it, you'll have to finish it at home. If you want the answer key, at least my answer key, I can give you the answers afterwards. Question 17. The Shulchan Aruch cites both opinions of the Bahag and the Ramban concerning whether one accepts Shabbat when lighting candles. What is the ruling of the Ramah? So what's the ruling of the Ramah, and what's the ruling for us? So page 125. Question is, when do we accept Shabbat? When we light the candles, or we accept Shabbat when we accept Shabbat? Okay, so what is the Ramah? So the answer is B. The minute for the woman is to follow the Bahag unless a stipulation is made, right? Unless they make it tonight, right? So the Ashkenazim hold that when they're lighting, that's when they accept Shabbat. Sfaradim, we hold like the Ramban, The Ramban says lighting candles has nothing to do with accepting Shabbat. In fact, is lighting candles.
For 9, 1, 7, 8, 5, 3.
I'm not accepting Shabbat yet. Why? Because I'm preparing for Shabbat. I'm lighting candles for Shabbat. So therefore, it's nothing to do with accepting Shabbat. So we Sephardim hold like the Shulchan Aruch, who says like the Ramban, who says that what? The Shulchan Aruch brings both days, but we hold paskin like the day that is the woman doesn't accept Shabbat when they light candles. They accept Shabbat when they accept Shabbat. Okay, and so Ashkenazim only if they make it tonight. Whether the tonight actually works, first of all, Ashkenazim, it has to be a real tzarech. Like the tonight has to be a real tzarech. Like I really need to make this tonight. Just stam to make it tonight, I'm lighting, I'm not doing it, doesn't work for them. And it has to be like not like something that they do frequent also. It has to be something like it's really shasam type of tonight. They don't want to use this tonight. Okay. So what is the correct order for lighting candles and reciting the bracha? What is the right answer here? A. According to Rabbi Yosef, Sfarim first recite the bracha and then light. B. Ashkenazim first recite the bracha and then light. Ashkenazi men first recite the bracha and then light. So the answer is A. The only right answer here is A. That we Sephardim first make a bracha and then we light. And this is a page 128, source 34. Okay. Okay, so up to Shir Dalid. And Shir Dalid deals with Tosefet Shabbat, adding on to Shabbat. So, question states, is Tosefet Shabbat a mitzvah d'oraita, d'rabanan, or not a mitzvah at all? Bring sources to explain your answer. So, page 146, start with source number 3. He's bringing from the Beit Yosef, brings from the Rambam, and the Rambam, when he talks about Tosefet, he only talks about Yom Kippur. He doesn't mention Shabbat. So perhaps for Shabbat, there is no mitzvah of Tosefet Shabbat according to the Rambam. Okay, that's source number 3. Source number 5, the Rif learns the Gemara that what? That Tosefet is also for Shabbat. And source number 6 as well, the Bir Halacha, that maybe the Rambam held that it was a mitzvah d'Rabbanan, right? For Shabbat. So we have an opinion of the Rif that is the Oraita on Shabbat. The Bir Halacha says the Rambam might hold that it is the Rabbanan. You have those who want to say the Rambam held that it wasn't a mitzvah at all for Shabbat. Shulchan Aruch says in his psak in source 7, Yesh Oimrim Tzarech L'Hoisef Mechol Al Kodesh. And we pretty much practice and try to add on. Question number 20. That was 19, right? Question number 20. Can one fulfill the mitzvah of Sudat Shabbat before sunset? How is this dependent on the nature of Tosefet Shabbat? So it is in the summer. Yeah. I take Shabbat in Chag HaMincha. It's not going to be dark till way later. I eat my seudah before it even gets dark. Can I do this or can I not do this? How does Tosefet Shabbat get into this? So page 148 or 49, hold on. Probably page 149. 12 and source 12 and 13. Okay, what's the sources over here? 12 and 14. It's how do you view Tosefot in 2 places? How do you view Tosefet Shabbat? When I say I'm taking Shabbat early, what does that mean? Does it mean that it's really Shabbat now? And if it's really Shabbat now, then I can eat my meals early. And Tosefot and Tosfot in Psachim says that's what it is. Tosfot in Psachim says that's what it is. Shabbat, you're allowed to eat your Suda early because it's really Shabbat. Once you take in Shabbat, it's Shabbat. But Tosfot and Ketuvot in source 14 says, no, Tosefet Shabbat is just saying I'm not doing Malacha. I'm stopping to do Malacha early. But Shabbat is not in yet. Shabbat comes when Shabbat comes, when it's down, when the sun down. Right? Not now. So you have these 2 different deot. Halacha l'maaseh, Yalkut Yosef says, is that the best process is, the best procedure is, if you are starting your Suda early, you should go into the dark once it's definitely Shabbat, and then you should eat another kibetza of bread after dark nightfall. So you're definitely eating a Suda on Shabbat. That is the practice should be like that. Okay. But that's what the idea is. What is Tosefet Shabbat? Is it really Shabbat, or is just a cessation of melacha? Question number 21. What opinion is not held by any halakhic authority in terms of the required time necessary to fulfill the mitzvah of Tosefet Shabbat? Is there a halakhic authority says it has to be a half hour before? Is there a halakhic authority says from Plaga Mincha? A few minutes, even a minimal amount. Which one is the wrong answer? Which is the right answer, but it's the wrong shita? B, from Plaga Mincha. There is no source that says from Plaga Mincha. There is, I believe it's Aruch HaShulchan that says it has to be a half hour beforehand. That's source 19. What is source 19? Can someone take a look? My book is a little bit slow here. Who's source 19? Chai Adam. And Chai Adam says, I'm sorry, it's Chai Adam. So there is a shita of a half hour before. And then the other shita is a few minutes and even a minimal amount. And we saw that Chacham says you can technically do Tosefet Shabbat during Ben Hashmashot. Somehow it works. Like during Ben Hashmashot, after Shkiyah, you finish Mincha, you can do Tosefet Shabbat at that point. I'm not sure how that works, but he says it's possible. Okay. So question 22a. When is the earliest time for Tosefet Shabbat? When is the earliest? Plaga Mincha. Very good. Plaga Mincha. You can bring in Shabbos as earliest from Plaga Mincha. Source 22. Okay, what's lahaktim? Makabel alav Shabbos Plaga Mincha ve'elech harishus biyadoi. That's the Ramon, source 22. Okay. 22b. What are different opinions concerning whether mental acceptance suffices? Do I have to verbally say I want to accept Shabbat early, or does mental acceptance enough? So if you go through page 156, sources 24, 26, 28, we have a set of different opinions over here. There are those who say the Ritva that says not through words, rather it must be through some sort of prayer and kiddush. You have to do something. You have source 26, Mikra Kodesh, that even if one has not accepted it, one feels positive about to add by not performing malacha, just by not doing malacha. You don't have to do anything at all. Just not do malacha, you already accepted Shabbat. And you had source 28 that the mental acceptance is effective. So there is a machloket if you have to say it, action, or just mentally think about it, it's enough. So we have those different opinions. Yeah, the Bach and the Gra. Okay. Of course, everyone will say it's best to verbalize it, but we did see in the laws of Shabbat that even mental acceptance will suffice. Okay, 23, question 23. Right, so laws of Shabbat, 104:12. Let me just see here. Merely refraining from halacha suffices to accomplish the mitzvah, but it's better for one to enunciate his acceptance and not just mentally declare it. So that's the Sefer Chayei Olamim. Okay, so question 23. Is one who wishes to make an early Shabbat permitted to recite Arvit before sunset? Right? This really doesn't apply to Sfaradim. This is an Ashkenazic question. We pray Arvit before sunset almost the whole summer. So what about the Ashkenazim? Their whole question was page 169. Their whole question was perhaps Arvit is like in the Beit HaMikdash when the Gemara says that whatever was left over from the Karbanot, you burned it at night. And that's an example of Arvit, right? So it has to be Dafka night. So Magen Avraham said, what? There's no burning Friday night. So you can't compare it to that. And then there was an answer that if you're doing Tosefet Shabbat,
and that according to the day that it's really Shabbat, it's not daytime anymore. It's not Friday. It's already nighttime. It's already Shabbat. So you can pray as well. So the different dayot that they give, and therefore the Magen Avraham says you're allowed to pray even according to Ashkenazim Friday night Arvit early. That's why you'll see Ashkenazim do that in the summer. They pray Arvit early, not the rest of the thing, but this they will. Arvit on Shabbat they will. Okay, question 24. D. Yeah. If one accepts Shabbat early, may one begin his meal after sunset before reciting Kriyat Shema according to the Mishnah Berurah. Okay, so question. The guy prayed early. He came home. It's now Zman of Kriyat Shema. Does he have to say Kriyat Shema before making Kiddush? That's the question. So the answer is C, and it's on page 174, source 61. And Lechatchila, one should wait to begin until after reciting Kriyat Shema at nightfall, and then he can, what's it called? And he says Kriyat Shema, and then he starts his Kiddush. But the Mishnah Berurah writes, you see people not doing that, it's okay. You don't have to stop them. Let them make the Kiddush, let them eat. And someone will remind them, they'll know to make Kriyat Shema afterwards. Just to mention that according to Chamuvadia, when is the time that you're supposed to stop? Because remember, Ben Yonah said you have to, even if you pray out of it early, you have to stop at the earliest time to make Shema. When is the earliest time you're supposed to make Kriyat Shema? At Seta Kochavim. What's Seta Kochavim? Torah Chamuvadia, Shulchan Aruch, Rabbeinu Tam. Okay, the ideal time to say Kriyat Shema, earliest time is Rabbeinu Tam's man. Every time Rabbeinu Tam, that's time you're supposed to stop to make Kriyat Shema. Okay. Shir number 5. Moving along. Does one recite Tachanun at Mincha on Friday afternoon? And everyone says no. This all the men know. We know. We know when we don't say Tachanun. So there's no Tachanun on Friday. Page 193, sources 1 and 4. That is where the answer is. We don't say Tachanun on Friday. Even in the middle. Okay. 26. Question 26. When were the concept and the text of Kabbalat Shabbat established? When was the concept of Kabbalat Shabbat established? And when was the text that we have today established? So this is pages 196 to 198. And C is the correct answer, Vyagadi. The concept was established by the Amoraim. We found in the Gemara that they talk about going out, accepting Shabbat. The text we have today was instituted by Rav Shlomo Alkabetz and the students of the Arizal. So with the text that we have was a later invention, but the concept was already an earlier invention.
Do you have anywhere where it says what they did?
They said they went out to accept Shabbat. I don't know.
What did that mean?
I don't know.
Door, hi, come in.
They went to the fields. Boyikalam, Shabbos Malchus. Okay, 27a. What are 2 reasons given for reciting Vayichulu on Friday night? Why are we saying Vayichulu on Friday night? So page 203. Page 203. 16 and 18. 16 says that when you say Vayichulu, it's as if you're becoming a part of the creation. And when you're stopping to work, it's as if you're becoming part of the creation with Hashem. But the second reason is 17 and 18, which is the most important reason, is the Rosh. And the Rosh says, you know why you say Vayichulu? You know why you're repeating Vayichulu at the end of the Tefillah? It's because if it's Yom Tov, you don't say Vayichulu in the Tefillah. And you have to say Vayichulu Friday night because it's part of the Kiddush, it's part of being Mekadosh, it's part of being part of the creation. And since Yom Tov nights, when it's also Shabbat, you do not say Vayichulu in the Tefillah, you would have to repeat it again. What are the different opinions concerning whether one may recite Vayichulu alone? So this is a very long-winded question, and it deals with sources 19, 20, 23, 24, and 25. We'll talk about it briefly outside. Is How do you view Vaychulu? Is it testimony that Hashem created the world? If it's testimony, I need two people. Okay? Mishnah Berurah says most people look for a second person to say it. They do not say it alone. However, we saw from many sources, or Litzion and others, that say, no, it has nothing to do with testimony. The one person can say it alone. He said, if you're saying it alone, then read it b'tamei mikra or something like that. That is, if you're just reading the Torah. The Chazon Ish said, you should never think that you're making testimony. What are you giving? Edus at night? Who needs your Edus? What are you doing? It's not testimony. The Chazon Ish said, and says, don't look for a second person. Rather do it alone. So there are different opinions on that. But again, Skate Chivot says that most people follow Mishnah Berurah, and they do look for a second person to say the Vaychulu with, but technically you do not need that second person. Question number 28. Explain at least 3 different opinions of whether to recite the bracha me'en sheva when davening outside a shul. Okay. Page 224. This is page 224 as we move along in the Sefer. And what this deals with here is that in the olden days, the Me'en Sheva, so I gave you the summary that he brings here the answer very nicely. So you have here number 2 on page 224, number 2. Mishnah, the Rivash, Shulchan Aruch, Me'en Sheva is only said in a shul. Mishnah Berurah, if it's an informal space, is used with some fixture, we're there sometimes, and there's a Torah there, then you should say the Me'en Sheva, the Bracha Magen Abraham. By the way, this is the way Rabbi Nachson in his Laws of Shabbat paskins as well, like Mishnah Berurah. The Igrot Moshe, or Moshe Feinstein says, I have no idea what a Sefer Torah has to do with anything. If you daven there often, then you should say Magen Abraham, the Bracha Me'en Sheva. Magen Abraham, Magen Abraham. Okay, and then we saw another opinion, and this was Rav Mordechai Eliyahu and the Ben Ish Chai, and they say you should always say it because there's Kabbalistic reasons for it, right? And Chamovadia and the Alkut Yosef, Piskei Shivot bring down that in the old Jerusalem, no matter if you're in a shul or not, you will always say it because it has a certain kedusha. The whole place is considered a shul, and therefore you're always allowed to say it. Those are different opinions of saying Magen Avot, Me'en Sheva, and outside of a shul. Okay. 29a. Is a man ever allowed to eat before Shacharit on Shabbat morning? If yes, what is it? And must he recite Kiddush beforehand? What if he is medically required to eat beforehand? Okay. So we have here page 213. It's on page 213. And we saw that it's possible to say the chiyuv of Kiddush doesn't come into place until after Shachrit. So therefore, before Shachrit, he can eat. There's an opinion it doesn't come into place until after Shachrit. That's number 1. There is another opinion that doesn't come until after Musaf. But there's an opinion that doesn't come until after Shachrit. So if it's before Shachrit, then technically he can eat. Now, he wouldn't need to have to make Kiddush. He wouldn't have to make Kiddush because he can eat. What about the woman? The second question is 29b. Is a woman ever allowed to eat before Shachrit? If yes, must she recite Kiddush? Does it matter if she usually recites the full Shachrit or short paragraph? So this is the important part. So the woman, it makes a difference if she prays Shachrit every day or every Shabbat at least or not, right? Because if she prays every day, every Shabbat Shachrit, then when is her chiyuv of Kiddush? After Shachrit. But if she doesn't pray Shachrit, then when is her chiyuv Kiddush? No. That's our Moshe. Her chiyuv Kiddush is when she wakes up. There's no Shachrit. Right? So she has to make Kiddush right away. Right? She makes one bracha, whatever. That's it. She read her tefillah. She already has to make Kiddush. Chamabadia writes that if she's very weak and she can't make Kiddush, she can eat without Kiddush because she's very weak. But that's the difference in the woman. So the woman davens, she can eat without the kiddush before shachrit. She doesn't daven, she has to make kiddush right away. So you have sometimes ladies at home, they're not davening, and then they take out the whole breakfast spread. They got cheesecake, they got all different things. They're not making no kiddush, and they have power to make kiddush. They should be instructed to make kiddush before eating their breakfast. We men, we can eat before kiddush. Now, before shachrit, without kiddush. But now it depends what you're eating. Okay? He talks about here about the medically required to eat beforehand. Technically, we say that you don't have to have kiddush before shachrit. But Chacham Ovadia writes, it's like Yosef writes in the Yalkut Yosef, but if he knows he's going to be eating a substantial amount of bread, he needs to eat bread. He's eating a substantial amount of bread, then perhaps he should make kiddush. He should make kiddush even before shachrit. If the man who's sick, or anyone who's sick and has to eat, and they have to eat a substantial amount of bread, right? He's eating a sandwich, or he's making a real meal, then he should make it. If he's eating something small, a little cookie, fruit, this, that, fruit, you don't have to make kiddush for sure. Not you don't have to make kiddush. You can eat beforehand. That is fine. But if you, it's like Yosef, they want to write that if it's like you're substantially making a meal, then perhaps you're gonna have to make kiddush.
We just permit it, but we don't hold it.
No, we hold like that.
Yeah.
We hold like that. In fact, it's like Yosef and the Yalkut Yosef brings that perhaps you should eat before you go to shul on Shabbat. Well, you have the problem with the Ta'anit if he goes past Chatzot. But he says, also, if you know the shul is going to be stretching, right? Baruch Hashem, some of our, the antique shuls, the antique Persian shuls, the Sephardic shul, Yemenite shuls, they pray Shachrit Shabbat. Even the Moroccans used to pray 4 or 5 hours. So if you know you're going to go, how are you going to pray? You're going to be hungry. Your stomach's going to be rumbling. So it's like Yosef writes, perhaps you should eat something. You don't need kiddush. So eat something, drink something. So when you go, you'll be calm. You'll be calm. But of course, you can't overdo it. You can't make a whole lox spread and sandwich bagel and everything. And I'm going. No, you have to.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Right. True. So that's why you can't eat so much. But you could eat in order to give you koach to daven. That's the answer. Give you koach to daven. But that is a good point. Okay. As we move on. Question number 30. According to the Ramah, which part of Shachrit and Shabbat must one repeat even after the Amidah if one forgot to recite it? Very good. Page 218, source 50. La'el Asher Shabbat, Kol Ma'asim. Says the Ramah, that's the most important part of Shabbat, Shachrit Shabbat. And if you missed it, you got to go back. Because that's the only part of davening that really talks about Shabbat in the brachot. Okay? What?
That's what Bukhara said.
Hey. Kel Asher Shabbat. Perhaps. Okay. Shir number 6. Finish shir number 5. Shir number 6. What is the proper time to recite Musaf on Shabbat? So what's the answer? You have it in front of you. The choices. No, it's not C. Don't guess, Avadia. You don't even have the paper in front of you. And the answer is, who said A? A is correct. Until the 7th hour, you're supposed to pray Musaf. It's page 232, source number 8. Until the 7th hour. If one delayed, one may still recite it until the end of the day. You have the whole day, but you should say before the 7th hour. Moving on. Question number 32. According to the Kolbo, it's a Rishon. What is the reason we say Va'ani Tefilati after Oval Etzion on Mincha of Shabbat? Page 242, source 27. King David said these words as praise to Hashem after interrupting his festive meal in order to daven to Hashem. Va'ani Tefilati. I'm going to go to pray when I'm relaxing. I'm not like the Goyim. I'm going to go out and make balagan. I'm going to go daven. I'm going to go learn. Therefore, answer me l'tovah, he says. Et ratzon. Answer me because I'm coming to daven to Hashem on my day off. Question 33. Page 244. The answer is going to be on source 31 and 33. Give 2 reasons why we recite Tzidkatecha on Mincha of Shabbat. 32 is B. 33 answers are source 31 and 33 on page 244. We say Va'ani Tefilati. Why you say Tzidkatecha? the Sefer Abu Raham says, you know why? Because as Shabbat comes to a conclusion, people are going to go back to Gehenna. So, Hashem's his judgment is correct. The famous answer that everybody knows, that's the Tur. The Tur says that that's when Moshe Rabbeinu passed away. All right,
I
and
put a trap from here to there, right to it.
and Moshe and
I
David
can't see what that is.
for Yosef, Moshe, and David. Okay. Question 34. If one forgot Atah Honantanu on Moshe Shabbat, must one repeat the Amida again according to the Shulchan Aruch? Very good. Everybody knows the answer. 251.46. Page 251, source 46 is the answer. No, unless one ate before Abdullah. You don't have to go back if you miss the Honantanu unless you ate before Abdullah, and then it's a kanas, it's a penalty, and you're going to have to repeat the Shmona Esrei. 35a. What is the halacha if one mistakenly began the middle brachot of Shacharit Amidah on Shabbat with the bracha for Friday night Amidah? So the guy is reading Shabbat Arvit, but he's reading Shachrit. Or he's reading the Shachrit, he's reading Arvit. He's messing it up. So if he completed it, he does not have to go back. Right? Because we say all tefillot of Shabbat are interchangeable, except Musaf. Shachrit with Arvit, Arvit with Shachrit, Musaf, Mincha with everything is interchangeable. Okay? Which source are you up to? 253.
Orange.
49.
253. Where are you? Second box. We're just talking about a weekday. We're talking about he's messing up with the two different tefillot of Shabbat. Right? He's saying instead of the Friday night, he's saying Shachrit. Instead of Shachrit, he's saying Friday nights. So therefore, if he completes it, he doesn't have to go back because it's all interchangeable. 35b. What is the halacha if one absent-mindedly began Atah Honen on Friday night before realizing his mistake? Okay? What's the halacha if you're saying a weekday prayer? You said Atah Honen, like Rav Daniel said, you have to finish the bracha. But let's say I said Atah. I just said take out the word Honen. The question should be without Honen. The guy just said Atah absent-mindedly. Because you say Atah Honen, you say Honen, it's already, you have to finish the bracha. If you say Atah could be Atah Honen, or Atah could be Atah Kidashta, or Atah whatever, or the tefillah of Shabbat. They should take out the word Honen. So there it's actually a machloket. It's a machloket Rishonim, or it's a machloket Achronim, I believe. Page 256, source 54. 256, source 54. Source 54. What does he say over there? So what is this? This So says Yaakov Joseph, he's holding that what? That if you said it absent-mindedly, you have to finish it if you didn't realize it was Shabbat. If you knew it today was Shabbat and you said Atah, then you don't have to go back. But if you weren't paying attention and you just said Atah, you have to say that bracha and then you have to go with the Shabbat. Okay? There are other days that say, no, you just said Atah. Atah could be anything. And therefore, you do not have to say the whole Atah Hunin. All right, that's the next one in source 55. Okay. Just going to read the laws of Shabbat over here on page 78. What does he say over here? Got it. Okay, moving on. Question 36. What is the halacha if one forgets to recite Shachrit on Shabbat and the time for Mincha has already arrived? Does one recite Tashlumin? Can you make a Tashlumin on Shabbat Tefillah? Yes, that is correct. And if so, which text does one use for the additional Amidah? Huh? The newer one. So Allah Laman says you use the same one that you just prayed. You do Mincha, you do Mincha again. The question goes back to what is Tashlumin? Is Tashlumin a fix-up or is Tashlumin an additional? Right? Is it an add-on or it's a fix-up? It's a fix-up. Maybe I should go back and say the one I missed. Right? If it's an add-on, I'm just saying the one I added on now. We say it's an add-on. We're going to say the one we did again. What happens if he did say the other one? It's fine. Why? Because all tefillot and Shabbat are interchangeable. Minchas to Shachrit, Shachrit to Arvit, they're all really interchangeable. So each one would be fine. So it would be okay. The answer is on page 260, sources 61 and 62. Moving on to Shnai Mikra Targum, Shir number 7. According to the Shulchan Aruch, what should one read if one wishes to fulfill the mitzvah of Shnai Mikra according to all opinions?
D.
D is correct. Oh, Marek, thank you for getting in here. Rashi and Onkelos. Everything has to go on. Thank you, Malkiel. 38. What are the three views according to the Shulchan Aruch with respect to the latest time by which one should complete Shnai and Mikra? All right, so you want to finish it technically Tuesday. Shacharit of Shabbat. Before you eat the Seudah in the morning, that's when you should finish it. If you didn't finish it then, you should finish it before the end of Shabbat. You didn't finish then, you finish by Tuesday. You didn't finish by Tuesday, you have until you still have Simchat Torah. And that's when you should finish it up. Page 288, source number 30. Shulchan Aruch. Are women obligated to do Shnai Mikra Targum? Who's going to make your food? Right? No. The answer was no. We did see that they brought down in the laws of Shabbat. He said, if a woman does it, she's going to have a lot of bracha. But again, there's no chiyuv on them to do it. Okay, 48. How many people are normally called to the Torah on Shabbat? 7 is correct. So page 291, source 35. Usually we call up 7 people. Give 2 reasons for this. Why do we call up 7 people? So source 36 and 37. One reason the Gemara says because Birkat Kohanim, the last pasuk in Birkat Kohanim, which corresponds to Shabbat, has 7 words in it. The Shibuli Halekit gives an interesting idea. He says because there's 7 days in the week, the person might have missed Baruch Hu. You didn't go to shul, and you missed Baruch Hu. So he makes it up on Shabbat with the 7 Baruch Hus. Everyone goes up. That's a Shibuli Halekit. It's a Rishon. Okay. 40C. May one repeat the same Torah portion over and over again. Right? We have to know this. We didn't know the answer to this. It's not preferable, but it's mutar. It's okay. You can take the same 3 psukim, say it over and over again, and make a bracha on it over and over again. You can even sell it, right, to read the same thing over and over again. And it is technically permissible. Page 293, source 40. Okay. Shabbat. Talking about Shabbat.
Even Simchat Torah, Ulasher Amar, they say it multiple times.
Say again?
Ulasher Amar on Simchat Torah, they repeat it so many times.
Yes.
Also.
Yes, we do that as well. Only Shabbat and Yom Tov. We do not add on weekdays. Okay? We don't add. Okay, 41. May a katan, someone under 13, receive an aliyah on Shabbat? If yes, may he read it for others. May he be a balkore. May a katan be a balkore. Is the allowance limited to only certain aliyot? So it's on page 295. Sources 46, 47, 48. The Gemara says anyone can be given an aliyah, including a katan. But he has to be amongst the other adults. I mean, he can't just be a bunch of ketanim. May he read for others? The Magen Avraham said no. He only reads for himself. He cannot read for someone else. Right? It depends how you read the Magen Avraham. You have the Pri Megadim. Others that say he can't read for others. There's a machloket if he could read for others. And is he limited to only certain aliyot? There are those opinions, 47, 48, that perhaps only maftir. Okay, maybe only maftir. Interestingly to note that Moshe says you should never give a katan unless it's absolutely necessary. And the case he gave was if a 12-year-old boy prepared the wrong parsha, he prepared the parsha before his bar mitzvah, so then you could let him read and read for others. Chamavadia writes, unless you have a clear minhag to give a katan, you shouldn't give a katan. Okay, unless you had a minhag to give a katan, then you don't give a katan. What exactly is our minhag? So it's unclear. I don't know what our minhag is. Therefore, we should not be giving a katan unless absolutely necessary. Okay, that's the halacha on that. Question number 42, and we're really running out of time. Question number 42, should one use a scroll to read the Haftarah? The answer is D. It is a machloket, and many are lenient to use a Tanakh. We're just going to continue with the questions and the answers, and then we'll finish up. 43, is the fundamental mitzvah of reciting Kiddush without wine considered biblical or rabbinic? Without Kiddush, without wine, everyone says it's deoraita. You have to make Kiddush. Okay, the machloket is Kiddush also deoraita or not. 44. 44. Is the mitzvah to recite Kiddush on a cup of wine considered a biblical or rabbinic? Tosfot and Rambam, wine is the Rabbanan. The Ran says it's the Oraita. Okay, so you have an opinion that says that wine and Kiddush is the Oraita. 45, as we're coming to the final round over here. On what level is the fundamental obligation of women to recite Kiddush on Friday night? What chiyuv do women have for Kiddush? The answer is C. It is the Oraita. We hold that a woman's Kiddush on Shabbat is exactly the same as a man's. 46. Should a katan recite Kiddush on behalf of an adult? The answer is B. No. Even according to the Mishnah, a minor cannot. His mitzvah is a mitzvah of chinuch. It's not a mitzvah derabanan. Even if someone who already davened, who made Kiddush in the davening, cannot be yotzeh through the katans because the katan is chinuch and not derabanan. 47. According to the Magen Avraham, how can one fulfill the mitzvah of Kiddush before one recites Kiddush on a cup of wine? Magen Avraham in page 330, source 7 says he makes Kiddush in the davening. In the davening, Friday night, you're making Kiddush in the davening. The Bir Halacha asks a question on it. Where's the Yetzias Mitzrayim in there? Maybe you have to have kavanah for it. Kaf HaChaim says you're davening. That is the kavanah. Perhaps Yetzias Mitzrayim is only the Rabbanan, so you don't have to say that. Last question. And with this, we'll end our review of these 7 shiurim on volume 16. Does a man who recited Arvit fulfill the mitzvah of Kiddush for someone who did not recite Arvit? Address the following. The basis for the question was our Q&A decision. What a second to was. Okay, the basic over here, we're dealing with our with being a guarantor for one another. And so since it's a mitzvah that my fellow has as well, and I have responsibility to make sure he fulfills that mitzvah as well. So even though my level is right now rabbinic, I have to make Kiddush on wine on a rabbinic level, but since his is the Oraita, but since we have responsibility for one another, I could be Yotze his the Oraita as well. If you want to look further, page 338, sources 21, 22, and 23. We did get I'll end up with this. Give me 1 second. We did get the next volumes. They're here. They're in the shul. Some people reserved them and they paid for them, so I have their names on it. The other ones will be here. For those who are in Queens or online, I gave you the link to buy them. They already were sent to those who ordered them. Bezos Hashem, next week we start volume 17. Rabbi Hanina ben Hashem Omer. Kadosh Baruch Hu Zakoi Yisrael Lefika Chibal Lahem Torah Mitzvot Shneimar. Adonai Hafetz Leman Tzidko Yagid Torah Miyadir.